Hey, everybody, it's Abby, episode 2. I am so excited to be here. This is something that we have been working on for a while, a project that I have wanted to give some attention to, and now just felt like the right time. So, we're really excited to be here. We're going to put a lot of work and effort into giving you guys information and content that's going to be really helpful. I'm in a really busy season in business. We are getting ready to ramp up into the fall wedding season and event season. So things are wild and crazy in my businesses, but here we are. We're going to talk about some things that will help not only y'all, but me. And one thing I'm excited about with this podcast is continuing to learn myself and implement things in my businesses and sharing that with you. This is not just theory. These are practical things that are going to help all of us, me included. So let's get into it. Today, we're talking about pulling back the curtain on the good, the bad, and the absurd, all the things that I wish someone had told me before I started. Everybody hypes up entrepreneurship like it's the hottest lifestyle upgrade since green juice cleanses. Be your own boss, they say. Make your own hours, they say. I mean, that's cute. But what they don't say is that sometimes those hours are 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. And your boss, AKA you, is kind of a tyrant. So today, we're going to get real about what no one told me about starting a business. The good, those things that genuinely light me up. The bad, the stuff I wish someone had warned me about a while ago, and the absurd, those you can't make this up moments that make you laugh and cry at the same time. So pull up a chair, grab your coffee or your glass of wine, and let's dive in. So let's start with the good, because there's lots of good about owning your own business. This is going to start us on a high note, the good stuff. The biggest win about owning your own business is creative control. You are in charge. You get to pick the fonts, the flavors, the clients, the colors, the playlist. No more explaining yourself to 5 different managers just to change a word on the website. The lifestyle perks. Working in yoga pants if you want. Scheduling a 2 p.m. nap. But I mean, who am I kidding? I haven't had a nap since like 2005. Deciding Fridays are meeting free just because. You are in control. There's a financial upside. If we do this right, we never, ever again will have someone else telling us how much money we can make. Our wage ceiling is completely up to us, and the sky is the limit. But one of the sneaky truths about entrepreneurship is that the very freedom we craved can turn into chaos if we don't anchor ourselves. We leave a 9 to 5 to escape rigid structure, but without any structure, suddenly we're answering emails at midnight in our pajamas, wondering if we even brushed our teeth today. So, here are some practical tips to keep that feeling of freedom without letting it become mayhem. One way you can do this is with coffee walks. Pick one morning a week where you step away from your desk, grab your favorite drink, and reflect. No emails, no Slack, just you, caffeine, and some nature. It's part ritual and part therapy. For me, this looks like my morning coffee with my dog Luna, sitting in my rocking chair, staring out my front window at my birds. This is like a non-negotiable every morning for me. You can do themed work days. Give each day a vibe. Maybe Monday is Marketing Monday, where you do social posts, emails, outreach. Tuesday is Tactics Tuesdays, operations, finances, systems. This way, when you wake up, you're not spinning your wheels thinking, where do I start? You already have a theme guiding your day. Have a CEO hour. Block a non negotiable time once a week just to work on your business and not in it. Review your goals, track your wins, and make adjustments. It feels indulgent at first, but trust me, it's where clarity comes from, and that is key to be successful. Do a Friday wrap up. Don't let your week blur into one long to-do list. On Friday, sit down and jot down 3 things you accomplished, 3 lessons learned, and what you're excited about for next week. It closes the chapter and helps you actually enjoy your weekend instead of dragging guilt around. And then set up some micro rituals, even small anchors like lighting a candle when you sit down to work, playing a specific playlist for deep focus, or closing your laptop at the same time each evening. Create a rhythm. Rituals trick your brain into showing up with intention. The point isn't to cage your freedom, It's to give it a runway. When you add these little anchors, the wild energy of entrepreneurship becomes more like a dance and less like a stampede. Here's something no one told me when I started my business: the tiny wins are just as monumental as the massive ones. The first repeat client who comes back because they actually loved what you did, that is gold. The first glowing review on Google that makes you ugly cry at your desk, that one little paragraph can carry you for weeks. Honestly, these tiny wins are the daily fuel that keep us going when nothing else does. They are the business equivalent of espresso shots, small but mighty. So, a little practical tip that we do: screenshot and save those little wins. When a tough week rolls around, and trust me, it will, scroll through those screenshots and remember, this is why I do what I do. And if you work with a team, share those wins. In our company, we drop those raving client emails and reviews straight into our Slack channels. We bring them up in staff meetings because celebrating together keeps morale high and reminds everyone that their hard work matters. Those woohoo moments bond a team more than any corporate icebreaker ever could. But let's not skip over those massive wins. Oh, honey, those deserve a spotlight. The magazine feature that shines a light on your work, the award you didn't think you'd ever get. For me, that was winning this really amazing award this past year, the Coastal Entrepreneurship Award for hospitality. I did not expect that award. I thought, there's no way I'm going to get it. Who am I to think I could get something like this? The process to go through all the interviews and the submitting of the documents and the financials and really proving the worth and the value of my business, and then to win it and take my whole team to receive that award, man, it felt so good. And let's not forget that first big contract, the kind with 5 or 6 figures attached. That's when you realize all those scary risks, the tears, the hustle, it's paying off. This is why we work our tails off: the hard work, the sleepless nights, the constant voice in your head asking, am I crazy for doing this? They all lead to these giant, audacious goals actually happening. So here's the lesson: savor it all. Save the tiny wins, celebrate the giant ones, because together they create the momentum that keeps you in the game. Now, buckle up. Here's the part that isn't fun to talk about: all the bad stuff. Well, some of the bad stuff, not all of it. First, job titles. When you're the boss, you are HR, you are IT, accounting, marketing, you're the janitor, and sometimes the therapist. So in my car, because I'm responsible for everything, there are receipts shoved down in my center console from like 2 years ago. Let's not talk about it. There's a box of dirty aprons in the back seat that I need to wash and iron. There's tissues and chocolate in my desk drawer for the staff member that has had it, and I've got to talk them off the ledge. Another bad is the financial whiplash. Some months you're rolling in cash, other months you're living on ramen. On Monday, you've got a gazillion dollars in the bank, and by Friday, you've bounced a check. All right, here's a truth no one likes to talk about, and one that can make or break this financial roller coaster. Taxes make or break your business. The IRS does not care about your sob story, your client ghosting you, or the fact that you just dropped $1,000 on a gorgeous new office chair because it felt like a reward. When that bill comes due, it comes due. So here's my practical tip, and consider this both a warning and a lifeline. I want you to, if you haven't already, open a dedicated tax savings account. Every single time money hits your account, sweep at least 20% straight into it. Don't touch it. Don't borrow from it. You're going to want to, but don't. Just let it sit there quietly, ready for the day when the tax bill comes. Future you will not only thank you, she'll probably throw you a freaking parade. And while you're at it, open a separate sales tax account. If you're collecting sales tax, that money is not yours. It's basically sitting in your account like a little time bomb. Move it over daily if you have to. Imagine the panic of realizing you already spent it on a fancy night out that you convinced yourself counted as a client dinner. It's cute, but the Department of Revenue isn't going to buy that excuse. Here's the inspiring part: when you do this consistently, tax season becomes boring, and boring is beautiful. No panic attacks, no last minute scrambles, Just the calm satisfaction of knowing you were disciplined enough to prepare. And now you get to glide through one of the scariest parts of entrepreneurship with total confidence. And finally, the loneliness. Entrepreneurship can be lonely when it's just you, the laptop, the coffee cup, and your spiraling thoughts at 2 a.m., but it doesn't have to stay that way forever. Okay, quick 30-second break while I tell you something that made a huge difference for me. I'm literally sitting in the Unfiltered studio right now. This place is a game changer. I knew there was no way this podcast was going to get done at home. I didn't want to deal with lighting, sound, all the other tech and distractions. Now I just prep and show up here. Everything's set up. I sit down and I feel like a total pro. If you're in Wilmington and need a space to record, visit unfilter.io or just search Unfilter Studio on Instagram and see it for yourself. One of the most game changing parts of the journey is learning how to start small and build a team that makes the work lighter and honestly, a whole lot more fun. When I say team, I don't necessarily mean a payroll of 20 people in a corner office. I mean starting with little building blocks. Maybe it's a virtual assistant for just 5 hours a week. Maybe it's hiring a bookkeeper so you don't cry over spreadsheets anymore. Maybe it's a part time kitchen helper if you're in catering like I am. So I remember a time back when my business was first starting and I was doing meal prep service for in-home private chef clients. And that had grown and grown and grown. And then COVID happened and I was not able to go into people's homes anymore. And so I started porch dropping meal prep for my clients. And that just exploded because nobody wanted to go to the grocery store again and make another loaf of sourdough. We were all just kind of tired of cooking. And so my business just went bananas. And during that time, I was doing it all by myself and it was awful, honestly. And so I found a little commercial kitchen that I could rent. And I asked all my girlfriends who knew how to cook, and they came and helped me every week. And we just cooked and laughed and talked about how stir crazy we all were. I tell you that story because each little piece of support gives you back time and sanity. And suddenly you're not doing it all alone. So, a little practical tip: I want you to write down the top 3 tasks that drain you the most, the ones that suck your energy instead of giving it. That's where you start. Hire or outsource those first. You don't need to build an empire overnight. And here's the best part: once you've got even one person in your corner, the loneliness shifts. You get to share the tiny wins, laugh about the absurd client requests, and brainstorm solutions when things get tough. Building a team transforms entrepreneurship from a solo act into a collaboration, and collaboration is what keeps you going for the long haul. So, if you're feeling isolated, remember you don't have to jump straight to being a CEO with a huge staff. Start small, build slowly, and piece by piece, you'll create a team that not only makes the work lighter, but makes the journey less lonely and way more joyful. Here's another practical tip: schedule real human connection into your week. Networking lunches, co working days, or just calling a friend who gets it. I do this all the time, and it has saved me most weeks. Now we're going to talk about the absurd. Every business is going to have your own brand of absurd, but you're going to have it. One thing entrepreneurship will never be is boring. The absurdities you run into as a business owner are next level. Stuff you never dreamed would be a part of your day suddenly becomes your new normal. So, a big one for us in my industry, which is hospitality. You know these kinds of clients, the ones who want an 8 course dinner for the price of McDonald's drive through run. These people are real, but they are not our people. Set them free back into the universe. Or the clients who have a contract for one thing, but then they try to keep adding things on for the same price. We call this scope creep. We had a huge commercial contract for several years that kept trying to do this to us. We kept saying no, and they are no longer our clients. But you know what? As soon as we were free from them, we literally the same week got enough business to more than make up for their absence. Sometimes setting bad clients free opens up a magical portal of opportunity. Don't be scared to fire some clients. So, life lesson: contracts are your friends. Make sure they are ironclad and in your favor, and just say no when you need to. True story. One of my businesses is an event catering company. We provide luxury catering service for weddings and events. One weekend, we had 3 weddings on one day, and there was a hurricane. We had just bought a new catering van. It almost got flooded out and went down the road. We found I got videos of my staff literally wading through knee-deep water with coolers full of food, floating it down to the event space. There are gonna be times that you are literally like, "What the actual hell is happening? What do we do to make this work?" And you just got to pull yourself up and figure it out. So prepare for unexpected emergencies and pack your waiters, you guys. There's going to be another day when you get a call early in the morning telling you a drunk driver took out your power pole and the commercial kitchen that you own has been without power for hours. Thousands of dollars worth of product are now in your dumpster. It's just another day giving you another opportunity and another opportunity to refine your coping skills. So, life lesson, make sure your insurance is up to date. At the end of the day, the absurdities aren't signs that you're failing. They're signs you're actually in it. You are doing the thing. And honestly, they make for the best stories later. No one ever says, "Hey, remember that smooth, drama free year of business?" Nope. We laugh about the chaos because that's what makes the journey worth remembering. Hopefully, this episode was valuable to you in some way. I really want to give you practical tips so that you are thriving in your business. Next week, we're going to talk about the 5 people you should be talking to before you start a business. And if you're already in the middle of business and you're kind of struggling, you can take a pause and talk to these 5 people and find some answers. So we'll see you next week. How much do you think you should, like, at the beginning, just kind of do the chit chat thing? Can you bring it down? No, the other way. Hey, everybody, it's Abby. Here we are. I'm going to start again.